Hello there, this is Ujjwal and welcome to another video on my YouTube channel. Today I want to tackle one of the most asked questions, which is how do I work on my bulk orders? I do a lot of commissioned work, and bulk orders are something that I've been doing for a while, and I absolutely love it. It's a maddening process. It's so tiring, but I love working on bulk orders, and I thought I'd share some of my ideas and my tips and how I tackle these orders with you all, just in case you are getting commission orders and you're finding it difficult to work on them. So let's get started. So my first tip would be to keep the design super simple. That is, if you have the opportunity to suggest the design in the first place. So for example, when I was asked to do this particular card design, I was actually asked to suggest designs, and I picked this particular design. Again, this has a lot of different steps involved, but they are certainly not as difficult as they do not involve any kind of inking or distressing and things like that that would have required me to do more work and would have taken more time. So just to show you what I mean by simple design, I'm going to break down the work that goes into this particular card. So you can see that I do all my card bases from scratch. So I need to fold the cardstock, I need to cut the cardstock to size to form my card bases, then I need to cut the pattern paper to size, then I need the matting white paper for stamping that I need to cut to size, then I need to print the sentiment for the top as well as for the inside, then I need to stamp the images, I need to color in the faces, and then I need to also add a logo at the back. So there are so many steps involved in this simple card design, and when you do it the first time, that is when you're making a single card, it might take you 15 minutes, but when you're doing this in hundreds and in thousands, I actually did this in thousands, believe me, the task becomes like, it's humongous. So just keep in mind that if you have the opportunity in the first place, suggest the simplest design that you can. Also, when you're suggesting the design, make sure that you can actually find those particular raw materials, or you can easily find the supplies that you use that you need to make that particular project, a particular card. So in this example, I need pattern papers, but I already made sure that the client knew that I won't be able to have all the patterns, like all the cards have exactly the same colors and patterns. I've told them that the patterns will vary, the design elements will remain the same, but the colors and patterns will vary. So make sure that either you communicate things like these to the clients, or you make sure that you can actually find the exact amount of raw material that you would need to create your bulk order. Coming on to the next step would be to compartmentalize. Now, I cannot stress enough how important this part is. Compartmentalization would basically mean that you do one step for all the card at once. So if I'm doing the scoring of the card, if I'm folding the cards, I would do all hundreds together. I'll just fold the card bases first, then I'll cut all those 100 card bases into card bases, cut to size. Then I would cut the pattern papers to size, and then I would cut the 100 of stamping matting paper to size, and so on. So basically, I'm compartmentalizing my task of creating 100 cards into several different parts. Now again, if you're doing this in larger quantities, so if I have to do, say I have to score 500 sheets of cardstock, it gets really tiring as well as boring at times. So what I do is I break that compartmentalization further, and what I do is I'll do, say 100 cardstock, I'll do score 100 cardstock first, then I will maybe go on and cut those cardstocks instead of doing the rest of the 400. And once I'm done with 100, I'll just more like I create batches. So I would do a batch of 100, then another 100, and then another 100, and so on. And this makes it a little bit less boring actually, and also it gives me a sense of satisfaction that I have finished at least this much. So it's really important to compartmentalize, because it makes your work not only easy, it also makes it go faster, because once you have a tool out, once you are cutting, you are into that flow and you can cut really fast. You have the measurement in your head, so if you have to cut at 4 inches, you know that you have to cut all the 100 or 400 sheets at 4 inches, and you don't have to really, it is set in your mind at that moment. And if you do that in one go, it'll be a lot more faster than doing, than making one card at one time. Next step is again an important one, and that is to use tools. Make use of tools if you have bulk orders. Tools like a paper trimmer, a scoreboard, a misty tool, a punch board, anything that can help you make your task easy and make you work faster and more accurate. It really helps. Crafting has been made so much easier now. There are so many different tools available, and again, if you're making one card, then you probably do not need a paper trimmer or a scoreboard. But when you're creating in bulk, these tools really help. And you can consider buying die cutting machines. Maybe go for an electronic one if you're going to cut in multiples, because then you don't have to manually die cut each piece. And yeah, buy that stamp positioning tool. Again, it not only makes the thing accurate, it also helps you when you are trying to delegate your work to someone or take help from someone who is not an expert in crafting, or who's not really familiar with the work, or doesn't have that much practice on it. So if you have a stamping tool, anybody can really stamp, and you don't have to worry about not getting a good impression with the stamp, because stamping tool you can always go back and stamp again. So things like that, invest in things like that. If you are getting consistent bulk orders and you want to really keep doing this, invest in tools. The most important and the most fun tip that I can ever share with you is to ask for help. Don't be shy. Don't think that people will not appreciate your work, or you will not find somebody who can work as well as you do. You can find people who can work just as well as you work, and you can teach them, you can train them, and maybe find hired help, or maybe ask your family, ask your friends, and involve them and let them help you. And involving friends and family, I think, is such a great way. You not only get to spend time with your family, you're all together working on something together, but if you have helping hands, your work gets done faster. And plus, when they actually work on your things, they respect the concept of handmade. They accept and respect the work that you do, and it is a win-win situation. So ask for help. Don't be afraid. Hire somebody, or ask your family and friends to help. My daughter loves to help. My husband chips in whenever he can, and I have to say this, I would not be able to do what I do if it wasn't for them. So that is all I have to share today. I hope you got some insight on how I work on my bulk orders, and I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure you subscribe, share, and like the video, and I will see you again next time. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.